Hey folks, it's time for another beginner strategy guide. And no, I haven't taught Too Many Bones, at least not yet, but I did do a run through of it over on the Rahdo channel, so feel free to go and check that out. Now, Too Many Bones, it can be a pretty tough game to get started in. I mean, the game itself is complex enough, but on top of that, each character is drastically different. So my freebie tip is actually don't expect to win your first game. I mean, you might, but because you learn this game so much better by actually playing it than by studying up, I found that after a learning game, you have a much better sense of things. But in case you want a few extra ideas, here are my top 5 beginner strategy tips for Too Many Bones. Leveling up is a big part of this game, and there are some intricacies that are not immediately apparent. Luckily, the game knows this, and for each gear lock provides a recommended upgrade path for you. I'm not saying this is the best way to play. I definitely like some upgrade paths a little bit better than the ones that they suggest, but by following their little roadmap, which does give you a solid base, it frees up your mind to focus on the rest of the game. And once you've done that, once you have a better idea of what is important to you, then you can start making your own choices, which leads me to tip number 2. There is a smorgasbord of skills, but unless you're playing one of the extra long games, you're not going to get all of them or even most of them. You just won't have the time. Now, all of the skills are useful in their own way, some more than others, but there's really no way to go wrong. So once you have the basics down, pick a few skills that you like and try to work them into your plan. But don't get FOMO about the skills you aren't choosing. Having a ton of different skills is great, but having the understanding of when and how to use just a couple of skills is better. And there's another reason not to splurge on skills, which is, yes, the skill dice are more exciting, but for better or for worse, your base stats are actually a little bit more important. Now, you really should have a few skill dice, but improving your health, dexterity, attack, and defense will more likely help you win in the long run. Now, let's take it one by one. You're going to get attacked. Just whoever you are, at some point during the game, you're going to get attacked, which means that having health is just always going to be important. And defense will help you stay alive, but it also is great at fueling your backup plan. And then attack and dexterity, they're both really good at keeping your gear lock effective once you've used up your powerful but one-time use skill dice. So all of them are important. Yes, some more than others, depending on who you're playing, but you can't neglect them. Now, that was a lot of advice for leveling up, so let's take a minute to talk about the fights themselves. This is a pretty standard tactic, but it is especially important here. And because you have so much information at the start of each battle, it's important to formulate a plan of attack before going in. I recommend trying to remove at least one enemy from the board before they can even take a turn. And if you can kill one of the stronger baddies this way, even better. 9 times out of 10, it's better to place multiple attacks on the same target than having each gear lock attack a different opponent, because 4 baddies with 1 health each is still 4 attacks against you. Now, sometimes this isn't possible. Maybe the baddies are too strong, or hey, it's a small map, you get in each other's way. I get it. But whenever possible, you should try to focus your attacks on a priority target. Now, how do you pick a priority target, you ask? Well, there are a lot of enemy abilities that you can run into, and you absolutely don't need to memorize them, but know that some of them are worse than others. I mean, heck, some enemy effects are a relief when you encounter them. But for me, the 2 biggest headaches are poison and flying. Poison because it completely bypasses your defenses, and flying because if you don't take out a flyer immediately, it's going to cause problems for you for at least another round. Maybe 2 or 4. But these are not the only aggravating abilities, so try to identify the worst one at the beginning of the fight and make a plan for how you're going to deal with it. And those are my top 5 beginner strategy tips for Too Many Bones. I hope they help you out, and if you have any tips of your own, I would love to hear about them in the comments below. And if you want to see more Too Many Bones content, well, I have the run-through of it over on Rahdo, like I mentioned at the top of the video, but also, I let my Patreon backers choose which games I teach, so if you want to see me do a full tutorial of TMB, well, becoming a rules lawyer and voting in the polls is the best way to make that happen. Either way, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!